Credentials don't close. Connection does, which is why you have to become emotionally magnetic. That's from today's real finfluencer, an advisor turned PhD who knows a lot about video marketing. Wait. Before we dive into the conversation with today's guest, welcome to The Real Finfluencers, a podcast born from our original video series spotlighting financial professionals who are using video to grow their business and their influence. Here's something you should know. Most of these guests aren't Idea Decanter clients. They've built their digital presence from the ground up, and they're here to share exactly how they did it. I'm your host, Laura Garfield, co-founder of Idea Decanter, and my goal is simple: help you discover strategies you can actually use, steal what works, get inspired, and find your own unique brand of finfluence. Now let's get into it. Welcome, Dr. Joshua Wilson. This is the first episode where I've gotten to use doctor. I'm so excited. So you are a former advisor, turned PhD, turned founder of NeuBeFi. I am so excited to have you here and talk video strategy.
Thank you for having me, Laura. I'm so excited to be with you today.
Well, you are using video in a lot of ways. And let's start with that quote I stole from you about credentials don't close, connection does. Connection in video is what makes you memorable. Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely. I think that, when you speak in video, it allows people to see other dynamics of you, other layers of you that they can't just get in a written word. And it allows you to if you're willing, to let more of your personality and your humanity show through. It allows you to tell stories. And frankly, a lot of folks want to watch a video or want to kind of listen to something. They want to glance back and forth. So it just gives you a much fuller experience for your audience.
Speaking of connection, you sent me a link to YouTube to this video where you are sharing a bit of your story. I saw that this video had been up for something like 5 years and had 1,000 views. And I have to tell you, we're dropping the link in the description for the show. Everyone needs to watch the full video. We want to give you a little taste first.
My journey, it was going to involve some pain, but I had a plan. And my plan was to choose my pain, the pain of discipline and the pain of commitment, because I will not just go back to Alabama with the pain of regret.
And you can see why I felt connected to you, Joshua, once I heard this story. Tell me how you're using it.
Yeah. So first off, this is an unlisted video. So the whatever number of views it has is not from it being public. so it might have a few more, but I've used this as a teaching tool for advisors. This is not something that I wanted to put it out there. I didn't do this in order to tell my story or make it about me. This is something I did because when I'm teaching things, advisors are like, okay, well, how, and show me, and that sort of thing. So I use this as a teaching tool. So when you speak in story, you activate parts of the brain that are responsible for emotional alignment, not analysis. One of the biggest mistakes advisors make is they want to get us into our prefrontal cortex and get us into this rational decision-making mode. Don't do that. So I didn't create this to showcase my story. I created it to demonstrate something far more important, and that's how the brain actually decides who to trust. So when I show this to advisors, I don't ask, what did you think about my story? I ask, what do you know about me? And what's wild is they start listing all these traits, values, qualities that I never said. And that's the whole point of the video. We trust our own conclusions more than someone else's claims. So the subconscious processes of story our subconscious processes story in a way that bypasses skepticism. You feel it, you fill in the gaps, you believe what you decide for yourself. We don't really want to be told. And so a lot of advisors, I see them tell. No, I would much rather, if it's me, and this is how humans are in general, not just me, is we would much rather decide for ourselves. So the video is a tool, not a pitch, but to prove that when you speak in story, your ideal clients will feel who you are before they ever hear you pitch, and they'll trust their gut more than any bullet point.
A question I get from a lot of advisors is when they see something like this, when they're inspired to do something like this, is I have no experience with an Alabama landfill. I did not work 75 hours in a hayfield as a teen. I don't have that kind of story. What do you say to them?
I say I didn't either. I didn't have that story either, because that story that didn't register as a story to me. That's just my life. Okay, so I promise you have great stories in you, but they're not stories to you. It's just life, because you lived every boring piece of it. You lived every second of it. It was all drawn out. So when I work with my clients, that's one of the things that I do is I interview them and we talk through these things, and I get to the meat. And everyone has meat because there's something about you. You are human. You have a human experience. So we tend to think in terms of, well, I'm not exciting enough. I'm not interesting enough. No, it's not just you're not interesting enough. You are magnetic to certain people. Okay, just like I'm magnetic to some people, I'm not so much to others. So there are things inside of you, and so if you focus on what you don't have, all you're doing is missing what you do have. You do have stories inside of you. They are human stories. And that's the thing, is everyone can relate to something. The reason that people relate to the story is because it's a human story. No one's ever come up to me and said, oh, I grew, my dad owned a junkyard in front of a landfill also. No one's ever said that. But people will come up to me and tell me, like I had a guy that I spoke at a seminar when I was an advisor, and I told some of my story. And it was the first time that I had told this portion of my story. And I was really nervous about it, because I'm thinking, who is going to relate to a guy like me, this poor farm kid from Alabama? He comes up to me, and he's signed with me, multi-million in AUM. And he's like, you are like my grandfather, and your dad is like my great grandfather. And this is the value. We are just telling me that this is 2 generations back, but he was me in this story. I mean, you are reminding me of my grandfather. My dad was this. We preserve these things. And I'm like, I can't believe that this is so relatable to him. But it was the values that came through, and him telling me he found himself in my story. And on the surface, it doesn't sound, why? Because there was human emotion involved, and he could grab onto those emotions that he had. So if all you're doing is sharing facts, and that's what I help advisors to do, is let's go beyond these facts. Let's dig into the story, and let's tell this in an actual narrative.
Well, if you're intrigued about this connection idea that Josh was talking about, you ought to check out NeuBeFi. And it is a fairly recent launch with a really cool offering for advisors and fintechs. What caught my eye on your website, your homepage, you've got 2 videos. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to drop these on the homepage and how they help people who are checking you out for the first time begin to learn about what you do.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you go to the other pages, you'll find more videos. Programs page has videos. There's lots of videos. And you'll notice that these videos are polished, right? I actually was in a studio, did these in a studio, because your homepage and your website needs to be a bit more polished. But the point is for you to be able to see something about me and have a spark, right? Either I appeal to you or I don't, but I'm giving you a decision to make. The worst thing you can have is indecision, is be unremarkable. You want to spark something in someone. And so many advisors are so worried about everyone loving them that they're unremarkable. And so what the video does on these websites is allows you to see who I am. You're going to get a feeling from me. You're going to see something about the way I speak, about the way that my inflection, that the way that my body moves. All these things are things that you're subconsciously processing, and your conscious brain is lazy, but your subconscious is very active. And so by putting these videos on there, it gives you a lot more information than I could give you in a written text, because it allows you so much more to process at a very efficient processing level. This is neuroscience, people. This is not my opinion. There's so much more depth that you get to process to feel something about me in seeing a video than you see in just the written word. So that's why it's there, to give you more in the same amount of time.
I encourage you to go to NeuBeFi and check out his videos. Statistically, I have seen that you get as 60,000 times the amount of information in watching a couple of seconds of video than you do in reading a couple of seconds of text. And when you think about it in terms of, if someone hits your website and they have a chance to hit a play button or read some copy, there is an evolution towards taking the easy way out and hitting the play button. So you're not only helping people get to know you, but you're giving them a much broader, much deeper experience than they would have just reading a copy alone. And why I said to make sure to check out the website and watch the videos is you will see how Joshua does this in a way that's not like, this is our process. It's a way that makes you start to believe that this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the subconscious doesn't speak in bullet points. It speaks in feeling, tone, micro expressions. That's a hard word. Story arcs, familiarity. So in my work, I'm designing messaging that creates space for the listener to really come to their own emotional conclusion. We really just don't like being told, Laura. So it's that conclusion, not my pitch, but their conclusion that actually drives the decision. And for me, video, I mean, obviously face to face is richer, but most people nowadays don't want to go get in front of you to start the process. They're building a relationship with you much earlier than they used to do. When I first started in the industry, advisor, you could still book a meeting and go get the information from the advisor. And so it was build rapport in the first meeting. That's, if I could just get in the meeting, I'll build rapport. That's really hard to do now. Most people want to build a relationship with you before. And it's really hard to build a relationship over text. It can be done, but it's a much slower process and people just don't have the attention span. So oftentimes videos are a gateway to things that are deeper, maybe something written, maybe your white papers, that sort of thing. But a lot of people will never even get that far. So it's not a highlight reel. It's a first impression filter. It's designed to make the right prospects lean in and the wrong ones quietly opt out.
Well, speaking about building relationships, you and I built a asynchronous relationship on LinkedIn by showing up in each other's feeds. And I remember kind of the first time I became aware of Dr. Joshua Wilson, I saw a video, I don't know if it was this one, but it was much like this one on LinkedIn, where you were sharing some insight about marketing and behavioral finance, and it caught my attention. And I was like, I got to follow that guy. And as I got more of your content in my feed, I began to feel like I knew you better. What is your strategy with video on LinkedIn?
Oh yeah, the goal is not to impress you. The goal is to connect. People don't hire advisors because of credentials. That's a box that they check, sure, but they hire the one that feels good. So when I'm using advisors, I'm really trying to help people bypass that whole "who are you" dance. And by the time a prospect reaches out, I really want them to feel emotionally aligned. So, what I'm trying to do with video is give people an opportunity to just get to know me and get to feel me and say, is this my kind of guy? Because, I get it. It's a lot of information coming at you, and you're not going to see every video that I post. I also do some other, everything I post is not a video. I do, I write and I'll create a few other things, but it's just to allow people to be exposed to me and you start feeling comfortable with me and seeing that not just that I'm an expert, my expertise comes through, but also that I'm your kind of expert, and you're going to feel that or not. And that's the big differentiate. That's what I'm trying to do with video, is not to impress you, but connect you. And I am a credible expert. I'm differentiated in my own ways if you give me a chance. But before we get into all that, is this my kind of guy? Do I think I'd like to work with him? Do I have a gut feeling that this is the person that I work with? And, I literally had a new lead coming yesterday, and saw one of your videos that led me to an interview that you did. And I know you could help me. I went through your stuff. He just binge watched my stuff and decided I'm the guy for him. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's just a hook. It's just an emotional hook. It's not about, every video is not trying to sell people. You got to get away from the whole idea of the purpose is to impress or is to sell. It's just to connect.
Well, let's get into that. You had a lead who'd watched a bunch of videos and came to you kind of predisposed to work with you already. And that was yesterday.
Yeah.
How do you gauge ROI with the videos you've created?
Yeah. So this is a tough one sometimes, but what I tell people with video is, if you're still measuring ROI and just likes and leads, then you're asking the wrong question, because ROI just isn't just about attention. It's about alignment. And I actually did a post about this a few days ago. Of course, you'll all know by the time this airs. But I love referrals, don't get me wrong, but oftentimes referrals are harder because they may come into the meeting, never have heard of me before, or never seen any content. So I actually like when people engage with my content first, because most advisors are really just kind of chasing tactics, better branding, better ads, better SEO. But the tactics without the marketability just amplify the noise. So what I'm really trying to do with this is, are people showing up pre-sold? Are people closing faster? Is it taking me less effort? Are my other things that I'm doing, because this is just one thing. You can't just post videos and expect to grow. You gotta have other things in your process as well. But are things working better? And so it's hard, Laura, to gauge ROI. And that's something that I'm still figuring out in my practice, frankly. But the fact that when people contact me, they always mention a video, that's probably my ROI, is people always watch videos when they reach out. I've actually got a 10-point, I think it's 10-point checklist, maybe 12, it's on my website that can help people tell how magnetic are you, because people will say things, they'll mention direct things that I said in a video. Mm-hmm. So that's things that I track.
They're repeating it back to you.
Yes, exactly. Like, you said X, and I remembered that. And I had this happen from someone that had watched it. This is an appearance from months ago, and they remembered something I said, and you said X. And then I watched this specific video. When people are mentioning specific things when they're working with me, and when those are the easy leads and the easy closes, and there's really about a close, I don't really want to be a salesperson. I'm not interested in closing anyone. Is this a fit? Is this isn't? So I think that for me, I've not nailed my way of calling this ROI just yet, Laura, but I haven't had to. I guess is because when I talk to people, this is just always coming up, and it's always and it will be. It always gives me questions to ask as well. What was it about that? Well, so it always just does my discovery for me. What was it about that video? Why did that resonate with you?
Well, if you want to learn more about becoming emotionally magnetic from Dr. Joshua Wilson, definitely check out NeuBeFi. The link will be in the show notes. And remember, if Joshua can do it, You can do it too. And if you need a little help building authority and growing your practice with video, that's what we do at Idea Decanter. Oh, one more thing. If you're not already part of Idea Decanter's Real Finfluencer community, now is your chance to join us. Head to ideadecanter.com/join, and you'll be in. You'll get early access to advisor video tips, invites to exclusive events, and behind-the-scenes insights that you won't find on Google or even on ChatGPT. Whether you're just video curious or already knee-deep in content creation, this is the place to grow your influence with video. Don't miss out. And thanks so much for listening to The Real Finfluencers.